guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I want to do something you may find slightly controversial, some of you at least, but it's something that I just kind of wanted to give my opinion on, and that is the Seiko SKX, which is also my wristwatch check. Is it actually a good watch? Is it overhyped? Why is it so beloved? I don't know. Let's discuss it. Of course, before we get started, quick little shout out to DelrayWatch.com. There's two particular pieces I want to bring to your attention today. The first is a Rolex Explorer 36mm 114270 with papers that we just got in and is priced exquisitely. And the second is a Corum Toboggan, which is a wristwatch that converts into a desk clock. It's not going to be for everybody, but it is super cool, and if you're a watch geek, yeah, at the very least, you got to go check it out, because it's something really unique. That's at DelrayWatch.com, link in the description below. So, what is the Seiko SKX? Well, the Seiko SKX is the king of affordable dive watches. It seems to be universally beloved. The Orient Rays, people like them or they don't like them, but it seems that everybody likes the Seiko SKX. Could be had for about $200. It's fashionable. I own watches that are literally 10 times this expensive, yet I wear it all the time. A lot of the YouTube guys love it. A lot of the forum guys love it. What can we say? The SKX is an horological icon. Even the rich and famous watch collectors seem to at least respect the SKX, or if not, really like it and have one in their collection. But is it actually any good? And this is an interesting question. Before I give you my opinion, let me read out some statistics about the SKX. So it's 42.5 millimeters, stainless steel, and it houses the in-house Seiko 7S26 movement with a 40-hour power reserve, no hacking or manual winding, and it sits in a plastic movement holder. The crystal is not sapphire. It is Seiko's own Hardlex, which is softer than sapphire, but still, pretty respectable. And it's got 200 meters of water resistance. It's ISO certified, which means it meets all the qualifications to be an official dive watch. So, with those statistics, you'd say, well, for $200, that sounds pretty great. And you know what? There's some pros and some cons. Let me start with the cons. The first con is the quality control issues, particularly with the bezels never lining up correctly with the minute track in the watch. It seems there's more misaligned bezels than there are aligned bezels, and it doesn't matter if you buy the Japanese SKX or the Malaysian. That is a big deal. And a lot of people say, well, it's a $200 watch, and I kind of understand that, but that has to be mentioned. The second thing is the movement, the 7S26. 40-hour power reserves, sure, but it's not hacking, so you can't stop the second hand, you can't manually wind it, it's completely undecorated, and it's unadjusted, which means it is wildly inaccurate. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section say, Federico, but my SKX is 3 seconds a day. Well, to you, I have to say two things. Have you measured it in all positions on a time grapher? Because just because you use a website like toolwatch.io doesn't mean you actually know how well your watch is running. Put it on a time grapher and check all the positions. And if you do that and it's still running great, well then let me tell you, you're in the gross minority. Because these, generally run in the 20 to 30 second a day range, if not much worse. And it's also hard to get the 40-hour power reserve because the only way to fully wind it is by shaking it, which is significantly less efficient than if you had a reversing wheel and you could manually wind it. So the power reserve, even though it's 40 hours, it still pretty much sucks. The crystal isn't sapphire. No, it's not mineral, but it's not sapphire. So I'd say that's acceptable, but certainly not top-notch. And of course, you have the plastic movement holder, which is used in much more expensive watches as well, but overall, I can excuse it in a $200 watch. Still not my favorite. And then, of course, you've got the famous Seiko bracelet, which rattles like crazy and looks like it needs Viagra because it's super loose, with that horrible stamped clasp. So those are all the things that are wrong with the SKX. And if you're just listening to that, you may think, well, Federico, that sounds awful. Why are you wearing it? Well, I'm just looking at my list here. I have notes, so I apologize if I keep staring down. I'll tell you this. Here are the pros. The pros are, I love the look. It's extremely charming to me. I love the off navy color of the dial. I love the lume without the surrounds. I love the Pepsi bezel. I love the Jubilee. So the look is great. The bracelet, even though extremely low quality, and a lot of people change them for aftermarket bracelets, I actually find quite comfortable and charming. Maybe it reminds me of a vintage Rolex. Okay. The price point, $200. Well, it just means that if anything happens to it, if I get mugged, God forbid, or it breaks, I know $200 is a lot to a lot of people, but I'm talking about my perspective. I could replace it in a heartbeat. Not to say that I'm super rich, but it's $200, and it's not the end of the world for me. So, that's also good. But the most important thing I would say is every time I put it on, it makes me smile. I love the way it looks. I love the way it makes me feel. I love what it stands for, and I greatly enjoy wearing it. Which is why, even though, as I mentioned, I have watches that are 100 times the price, I still wear this probably the second or third most than any watch in my collection. I wear it to travel. I wear it when I have a busy day at the office. I wear it when I don't know what to wear watch-wise. So I love it. So I think there are two ways to answer the question, is the Seiko SKX actually any good? And that is objectively, looking at the statistics, and subjectively, and that is my own opinion. Now, objectively, I'm going to tell you, it's a pretty darn awful watch. There's no way around it. It's not great. There are watches for a similar price point, such as the Orient Ray or the Orient Mako, which are superior watches. They just are. They're more accurate. They use better materials. They're finished better. They're just better. And the SKX, even though it's $200, even at that price point, it's mediocre at best. So objectively, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinions, if you read the statistics, the specifications rather, no, it's not a good watch. It's a pretty bad watch. But then there's subjectively, which is more important, and that is, do you like it? Do I like it? Do I wear it? And the answer is yes. Subjectively, I think it's one of the best watches ever made in the history of watchmaking. And I can't really explain it because, as I said, specification-wise, it's nothing special. In fact, it's quite the opposite. However, they just got it right. And it's a watch that, as a watch enthusiast and someone who owns much more expensive pieces, I keep coming back to. So if you're a watch buyer like me that's more emotional, you may love the SKX. If you're calm, calculated, and all about the numbers, then you know what? The SKX probably isn't for you, because looking at the numbers, well, they speak for themselves. Now, guys, this video is entirely opinion-based. I hope I didn't piss anybody off. Obviously, I love my SKX. I wear it all the time. But I think people need to be a little bit more realistic than praising it blindly, because there's a lot more to it. I love it. I'm always going to wear it. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's the best watch for $200. Because you know what? It's not even a decent watch for $200, let alone the best. However, it's full of intangibles. Anyway, guys, that's just my take on the Seiko SKX. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I'm genuinely curious. Please be gentle with me. Don't shoot too much hate. I know it's a little bit of a controversial subject and statement, but that's just how I feel. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you really enjoyed it. It really helps me out. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you and take care.